So it is 2 minutes past 10 o'clock Middle European time, and I think we should start. Ladies and gentlemen, let me say, dear fellow campaigners for data sovereignty in Europe, I'm pleased to welcome you today on behalf of the International Data Spaces Association to our Data Spaces live session. In this Data Spaces Dialogues, we will discuss with experts on data spaces for key domains, infrastructure, governance, mechanisms, but also all the different perspectives. And I personally, I'm very honored to be a moderator today, and therefore allow me to introduce myself very briefly. I am a physician and a thoracic surgeon, and also have a background as a civil engineer. I've been active as a head of various centers for lung for the past 15 years, I guess. And a couple of years ago, I founded the Institute for Digital Transformation in Healthcare at the University of Wittenherdecke. And besides my academic obligations, we are acting as a consortium partner in various scientific projects and participate intensively in European tenders as well. Our focus actually lies in the area of data ethics, legal issues, and corporate digital responsibility. And this matches very well with being a member of the board of the International Data Spaces and a warrior for data sovereignty, as I call myself. In this context, educational issues, of course, are close to my heart, and I'm happy to learn today from you experts how building data spaces can solve certain problems. And I'm particularly looking forward to my fantastic guests, whom I would like to list and welcome in the order of their presentation. And please excuse me for my bad French pronunciation in advance. From Paris, France, we have Anne-Sophie Taillandier. She's a director at the Institute Mines Telecom and responsible for the Data and AI Terra Lab platform. Anne-Sophie supports numerous innovations and research projects around data, and she is quoted saying, "Data science and algorithms are at the heart of my education as an engineer and PhD." Also from France, Paris, we have Claudio Cimelli. He's a project director as a strategy and partnership department, digital education, Ministère de l'Éducation française. In his role, he participates in various national and international working groups. A warm welcome to you, Claudia. From Freiburg, Germany, we have Helko Lehmann. Helko is the Director of Innovation and board member of the IMC. IMC is a company founded at a spin-off at the Saarland University. He is an expert in strategy, technology, and e-learning content, and is deeply involved into the MERLOT project, which we will get to know more about. And last but not least, from Paris, France, Matthias de Bièvre. He is founder and president at Visions. Visions is a company which is on the mission to bring knowledge and harmony to the use of personal data. So a warm welcome from my side to all you experts. Last but not least, I would like to briefly hand over to Lars Nagel, the CEO of the International Data Spaces Association. Give us your welcome note, Lars. And after that, we are looking forward to our first contribution. Anne-Sophie, the stage will belong to you.
Thank you so much, André. And thank you so much for all of you being here this morning. So thanks first to all the panelists and those who really drive data spaces and make data sovereignty a reality, hopefully, and show it. to everyone out there. And therefore, also here, in the context of education and skills, lifelong learning, we really put us, the citizens, people, in the focus. And we can show the benefit for real people that we will have with data spaces, and making with or through or by data spaces data sovereignty a reality. And therefore, I'm really happy that we have moved into this phase. So last year we have seen the mobility data space and Catena-X and smart connected supply network, all these industrial endeavors which show that the federated nature of data sharing, a true open ecosystem, that it works even for valuable data and data sets. But it was still more or less focusing on the industrial domain. And here we make the next step. And so when we talk about data spaces, we always say that this is for the benefit of data economy, but we continuously say it's for the benefit of data economy and for society. And that is the true value. And I'm happy that we see more and more of these endeavors now appearing on stage. So we have the MERLOT project, we have the Prometheus-X project, and we see other projects in other domains which are closer to us as citizens. So, for example, tourism data space, and also more and more in the public administration, where citizens directly interact with the government or with cities or municipalities. And that will be the true success factor for data spaces, to show that we can really make data sovereignty happen for industry, for government, and for us citizens. And yeah, well, today, education, skills, lifelong learning, this is, yeah, well, I would say something which touches all of us. So us, our kids, and it's so important. And I think perhaps we can open the eyes for everyone out there who's not so familiar with data spaces, why we should consider data spaces as something very important, because it affects us, not only our kids, but us through our whole life, because of the aspect of lifelong learning. And well, I'm happy that we have these projects. I'm happy that we have these experts here at the table. And well, it should better you talking than me. I love these projects, and I think beside all of the benefits and advantages which I've just shown, it also will show how IDS concepts and Gaia-X fit together and can be used in order to make data sovereignty happen. Probably the one or the other technology will be also added, and yeah, love to see that happen. And also in that regard, you are trailblazers, and one of the important persons which combines all these worlds is Anne-Sophie Taillandier, and therefore I'm happy to hand over to you to give your reflection on the very topic. Anne-Sophie, stage is yours.
Thank you, Lars. So yes, I'm Anne-Sophie Taillandier. I'm a director on TerraLab Data and AI platform, as André just also introduced in the beginning. We are the French hub of IDSA, so we are working closely since many years now, and we are also one of the founding members of Gaia-X. So I'm not an expert on education and skills data spaces, but I'm part of an institution which is a research and innovation institution, but also a set of engineering schools in France, with also professional training, providing professional training. So what I can say, when you said, Lars, exactly that the data spaces are a lever for very important for data economy, I will say that it has to be with also education and skills, because it's also new skills as well. So, and when you see that for companies, they have people, employees at one type of skills, and they want to bring them at another one. So they have to define new journey of education as well. And we have different kind of support for trainings like MOOCs, like training on site, like initial training, like different types of data and trainings. So they have to create new types of trainings, and you see also, and this is the richness of data spaces. You see cross-domain use cases. I mean that for that André, so you're from healthcare sector, but I see also in agriculture sector, and in all sectors you have to have probably certification around trainings. So it will bring new types of services or products or economy. You have a very strong edtech innovation in France and in Europe. So and it's also to help them to foster their innovation. So I will say that we have a diversity of profiles, a diversity of trainings. We have this new open ecosystem, as you said also, Lars, and all these data spaces and the data space on education and skills, it's for citizens. It's also to support the data economy. And you know that also at IDSA with all the winter schools you had to bring people to these new types of skills. So I'm happy today to have experts like Claudio Cimelli, like Matthias de Bièvre, or like I will on my side won't pronounce very well Helko Lehmann, so it's I'm sorry for that. But it's really great to have you three here at this webinar from IDSA, so you can really present the new services and where you are in the development of your data spaces at the national and European level. So I'm very happy for that, and thank you for the invitation, IDSA.
Thank you very much, Anne-Sophie, for this introduction and for setting the scene. I think we just move to Claudio as announced, and Claudio is supposed to share his screen with us.
Yes, hello. Okay, thank you very much. Just to introduce me, I was a teacher, and I was in France. Name is inspector, and years ago I go in school, in classrooms, to see students and teachers and our activities. And 10 years ago, I was the first director, chief of the innovation education in digital education. It was a lab, and with all the tech company and the searchers and the teachers, we had a big problem for using learning analytics, for using adaptive learning and AI for education. So the problem is in two numbers. First numbers, it's some personal data, and it's not very sensitive data as GDPR like health data, but it's very sensitive data for population, for politics. And that was something who is very difficult to work. And second is because it's very difficult to have some data on the education. And 5-6 years ago, there were first project in France to work on data in human-centered data. Can you change of picture? Go on. Thank you. And for us, work on personal data in education, it was a human-centric problem because we need some transparency, some independence, some confidence, and we work on humanist value. We are ensure that the circulation of data to better support pupils and citizens in their learning activity, orientation, and development profile must be in some values who are really centered in human. Can you change? And we work on this, and we think that we are in the value of the luggage of the learner and the citizen is data and its controlled and responsible circulation. The real role material of a data space is this, is data of citizen, of youth, of student, and this must be in control and responsible infrastructure. We have three family of use case. We have a family of use case who is on learning track because it's for AI and more robust and efficient AI and adaptive learning. We think that it's first because without learning tracks, we can do nothing. We can not be able to make AI machine for help someone in studies. We can't do really nothing. Second, it's in valuing skills, enable individual to better identify, value, and circulate their skills data. As that we think it's very important to have some ontology who can associate skills denomination, and we think that that's very important to work on long life learning. And third, it's to measure the impact of solutions, because if we can't be able to measure the impact of solutions, we can't make better decisions. This kind of three family of use case are for us most important as we can share in a data space. Can we change? For working on that, we are creating a first working group in France. It's a consortium associating public and private actors to create synergy and to organize the governance, to formalize use case, to have institutional framework and positioning, and to have some political outreach. For working in the reality and to have an infrastructure, and to answer from national calls and in the future European calls, we have to create a non-profit organization with Prometheus-X, but we can work with other non-profit organizations to achieve the governance of the services within the infrastructure and in the vertical education and skill, and to execute the use case, to operate the technical framework and interoperability, and to have some production that we can share. That is very important for us. Next. And after the working group that we made in France, we share with IDSA, and at their request, we accept to coordinate for the first time the vertical with 10 participating countries as Estonia, Finland, France, Germany, Italy, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Portugal, Spain, Sweden, to try to have an organization who is an European organization and who federate all the working group on all the countries. We work with Prometheus-X, but we can work from other organizations with the data space vertical. And one of our goal is to use the recommendation of Gaia-X DAO and Gaia-X standards to have a European data space and to have an infrastructure who is compliant with all the working group and all the country. Can you go on?
Next slide, please.
Next slide, sorry. I wait.
So do I.
Okay, thank you very much. One of our goals is interoperability and safety. That's a big priority because to have some confidence, to have some transparency, we have to be sure that we are in safety, and we are working with all the other sector to create a genuine innovation ecosystem to respond, to answer to project based on interoperable building blocks. Why? Because, for example, we work a lot with health of agriculture, because skills are on the other vertical, and education and skill have to federate all of these skills in all the vertical. And for this, the first building blocks are for us to are in interoperability with decentralized identity, wallet, because human-centric for us is to have a wallet for public sector and private sector, but a wallet for the citizen too, for verifiable credential and with smart contracts. That's for us the building blocks that we have to share to work in interoperability priority. Next. We realize minimum functional base in MVP, and this MVP we think that we are able to operate him in 1 month, and the first functions are cataloging resource for the portal, is to use the first resources and to manage them online. And we work on the logging to the portal with decentralized identity of public and private organization, and to facilitate the access of a dashboard of each participant. This is a primary need of the different actors to exchange some data set and services. And we think that the portal, the MVP, is good to go on and to have some function that we can ameliorate in the time. Next one. Okay, but you have the address of the MVP. You can see how it works a little. Okay, but it's not finished. It's in the working roadmap of us, and I hope that we can share and work together for the next 2 or 3 years, because we think it's there were a lot of work to finalize how is our dream. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Claudia, for this insights and for this very interesting speech. I think we have the time and the opportunity to discuss all these later on with all of the panelists. So let us move to our next speaker, Helko Lehmann from Freiburg, Germany. And thank you for being with us. And are you going to show your slides to share your desk by yourself?
Yes, I try. Let's see whether it works. You see my slides?
Yes, we do.
Oh, no, I don't see them anymore. Interesting. Wait a sec. Well, I leave them like that because I think full screen doesn't seem to work. Okay, so welcome also from my side to this little opportunity to give a presentation for the MERLOT project. MERLOT is standing for Marketplace for Lifelong Educational Data Spaces and Smart Service Provisioning. It is a project that is sponsored by the Federal Ministry of Economic Affairs and Climate Actions in Germany. So much about the background, and I think while Claudio was showing a lot of humanist motivation for data sovereignty in lifelong learning, I fully agree with his reasoning, but I want to shift a little bit the emphasis to also some socioeconomic factors, I think, that drive us in the MERLOT project, and I think also the government to drive this type of projects. We were speaking about lifelong learners, and I think there is a long-term change already in the last almost 100 years, where we see that the half-time of knowledge is decreasing rapidly. The value of qualifications once achieved is only high for a few years before people have to continue to develop their careers, their knowledge, their skills, their competencies further. So now a lifelong learner is not actually something that we do as a because we want to learn the whole life, but we actually have to. It's essential for us to live, to learn all our lives continuously, much more so than it was before. And of course, this process is further accelerated with digital transformation. But of course, the hope is that digital transformation can also do something for us to help actually the learners to learn lifelong. And to do that, they are faced, of course, with an ever-changing landscape of opportunities, constraints, changes in possibilities to develop and to learn. And they cannot actually be left alone with this. So to make sure that actually also a wide base of the society, of the people, can participate in this change and can develop, we need to give people assistance, possibilities that process the enormous amount of data that is concerning the changes in skills, job profiles, learning opportunities, etc., and develop assistance services for those learners. Yeah, and that's why lifelong learners need actually data, and they need at the end AI-based or other big data-based algorithms to help them to orientate and develop. Yeah, so this is, I think, essential for our societies, apart from, of course, being also a humanist necessity. And as Claudio mentioned, there is a big contradiction at the moment between the data that is available for developing such algorithms and where the data is actually aggregated. So we see that because of personal data protection rules, data is locked into institutions and hardly accessible even for the people who actually these data belong to. But it's not only personal data, it's also a lot of other data. I'm talking, for example, about career opportunities that a company is providing, or an organization offering learning opportunities, etc. All this data is institutionally locked in. So, and I think if I would say what is the goal of the MERLOT project and endeavor, I think because it will go beyond this, and I guess it's also the goal of Claudio's endeavor, is actually to overcome these lock-ins and enable basically the users to benefit also from this digital transformation at the end, and adapt accordingly. So the first goal, if we break it a bit down, of what we want to do in MERLOT is to break up this lock-in of data protection and move towards data sovereignty. This is important because this is the step basically we can free at least the personal data to be used in the benefit of the users, not only the user, of course. And this means that the user has to, or the learner has become the owner of the data. And I'm talking about career goals, learning progress, skills, competencies, all kinds of things. And the user needs to be able to manage the access to this data through other services, so that he can get in exchange, for example, assistance or other services. And there is also the question of consent, of course, that is generally behind the personal data, and that has to be managed. And I also put here explicitly also revocable consent, because once agreed doesn't mean that I'm still in control when I cannot revoke this consent. So that is data sovereignty of requests that you actually can also revoke your consent. So the project, of course, then we have to adjust also the actual services, and that's in the project also done by the respective educational technology providers that develop digital services that do manage personal data, learning data, competence data, etc. So this data has to be controllable or access controllable by the user. So this is a transformation that we have to do for the service, and for this to be sustainable. Yeah. So Claudio mentioned also that we need interoperability between the services. This is a very important aspect that we also address in MERLOT. Of course, to make sure that these services can actually exchange data and build up new secure data spaces. So the scalability of data access control is playing a role there also. But we add another component to it, because we believe that to have a sustainable interoperability between services, we need also to have the service providers to have an economical interest in sharing data, and this economical interest must be transparent and also negotiable. Yeah. So the what we try to achieve in MERLOT is also additionally to the data space conform interfaces that will enable services to exchange educational data. We also want to have a characterization of the business model that is underlying the service, and the and enable the data-driven business models, meaning that data can be exchanged with also sustainable economy, yeah, for the respective service providers. Then building on these interacting services, so talking, for example, about learning management systems run by education providers, etc. These services, they can build up a marketplace, and marketplace means in this case that they share basically compliance and transparency rules, and in this way we want to facilitate the market access also for new entrants, for new service providers, as long as they are providing the means to ensure data sovereignty and of course the other aspects, interoperability and data model descriptions. So and while the access to the market for the service providers is on one side, and of course we expect also then a respective transparency for the participant in the market that want to actually use their services. So then looking at this marketplace and services that are combined, used by customers or stakeholders, participants in the market, then we have, so to say, emerging data spaces, educational data spaces. And this is not one data space. This is basically every time services are interacting, exchanging data, and their data aggregated in this way, then we have basically a new secure data space, which can be then under the rules of the marketplace and of course the compliance of the individual services used to develop new services, and that's basically what we eventually drive at, to close the loop, so to say. Based on these data spaces, we expect assistance services, innovative new services based on data to help at the end the orientation of the users. So these are done typically AI-based education services. What we do to actually make that happen is we try to basically use almost the full comprehensive stack of Gaia-X services. Because when you looked at the individual components, then you see immediately the aspects, identity and trust. So self-sovereign identity plays a big role. Also, what Claudio mentioned, the topic of data wallet, for example, to keep data in ownership of the users, playing a big role. Sovereign data exchange. This is what we need to use to ensure the interoperability. Compliance, I've mentioned several times. Federated catalog is very close to a service catalog that we want to build with this marketplace. So all those things are really, all the goals of the project can actually, I think, only be reasonably built based on the Gaia-X Federation services. So there are a number of players in this project. So we are 11 partners at the moment. And as I mentioned before, there are educational technology providers that will adapt their services to be compliant, usable, but which at the end, of course, has to be done by those who operate that services in their respective institutions. Some of them are part of it. Some of them are associated partners that are not listed here, yeah, so that's I think how we want to achieve all that in the next couple of years. And with this, I would like to close for now.
Thank you, Helko. Thank you. I'm looking forward to the discussion and the Q&A.